Hare Krishna. So, very warm welcome to the devotees who have joined today for our continued discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2. And last time we had started verse 29, and we completed, two parts of one part of the two parts of the verse. So, we spoke last time, if you recall, we had our first offline physical satsang in over 2 years, and a very blissful experience seeing and meeting with all the devotees over there. We were fortunate to get that TV room. Unfortunately, today it is not available, and we don't know when it will be next available. But anyway, we thought we should continue with at least our online satsang so that devotees are able to take the benefit of hearing Krishna Katha. The last time we discussed about Krishna, the beautiful verse about how Krishna goes into the forest with the cows, and we spoke about Krishna's pastimes of herding cowherd as a cowherd boy, Gopal. He is known as Gopal. So Go Brahman Nihitaicha. So we discussed about how Krishna takes care of the cows, how much love he has for the cows, and then we spoke about the Lila of Krishna, how he would call the cows in the evening with his beautiful flute. And the second part of the purport of that verse talks about the flute of Krishna. So maybe I'll just touch upon that, and then we'll talk about the glories of the flute. I think today, more or less, we'll only be able to talk about that. I did not prepare anything else. I thought that this is sufficient, and if we are able to, in some insignificant way and some very insufficient way, we are able to somehow glorify the dearest associate of Krishna, who is always close to his body. Krishna is never without his flute; he's always with the flute. So we don't have the qualifications to glorify the flute of Krishna. We don't have the qualifications to speak anything about it. But based on what I could gather from scripture, from various sources, I will try to speak something, in the glories of this wonderful flute of Krishna. So if we quickly look at the purport that, I hope all of you are able to hear me clearly, because my voice is a bit down today.
Yeah, Prabhuji. We can hear you.
Okay, great. So, in this purport 3.2.29, the translation goes, while herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who was the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute while herding the bulls. Okay, he used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, after he has finished discussing, that Krishna would have beautiful cows and bulls of various colors, red, black, yellow, ash, etc. And because of their colors and healthy, smiling features, the atmosphere was very enlivening. And then he says, over and above all, the Lord used to play his celebrated flute. The sound vibrated by his flute would give his friends such transcendental pleasure that they would forget about all talks of Brahmananda, which is so praised by the impersonalists. These cowherd boys, as will be explained by Shukdev Goswami, were living entities who had accumulated heaps of pious acts and thus were enjoying with the Lord in person and were hearing his transcendental flute. The Brahma Samhita confirms the Lord blowing his transcendental flute. Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Parhavatam Sam Asitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahmaji said, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He is decorated with peacock plumes, and his bodily color resembles a fresh black cloud. Although his bodily features are more beautiful than millions of cupids, these are the special features of the Lord. So, Srila Prabhupada in this purport he is actually glorifying the flute. Second part of the purport, he's glorifying the flute, and he's glorifying the cowherd boys who, along with Krishna, are so fortunate that they are able to listen to this transcendental flute, right? So, in the Nectar of Devotion, the 21st chapter, Nectar of Devotion is like an encyclopedia on bhakti, right? Written by Rupa Goswami. And, every possible topic, not every possible, because as it is by the name itself suggests, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is like an ocean of bhakti, right? Bhakti Rasa. So, in that ocean, like, some small portion has been described by Rupa Goswami, but it is a very, very voluminous work by itself. And in that, in the 21st chapter, last time we just touched upon it. Today we'll go a little bit more in detail. It is described that there are 64 qualities, that exists that any person can have. 64 qualities, and out of those 64 qualities, 48 of those qualities, are called what is called Jiva Tattva qualities. So Jivas like you and me, and even Lord Brahma, who is a Jiva Tattva, we have all these 48 qualities. Some may have many of these 48 qualities, some may have very few of them, some may have all 48 qualities. But what we have, even as perfected human beings, what we may have is a limited measure of these 48 qualities. We don't have them in fullness. So amongst the jivas, the most perfected living entity is Brahma. So Brahma is the one who has these, actually 48, 50 qualities. These 50 qualities, they have in full measure. Brahma has, these 50 qualities in full measure out of the 64 qualities. Now, beyond these, there are 5 more qualities that Krishna has. So Krishna has all these 48, he has all 64 qualities in full measure, unlimited full measure. But it is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that beyond these 50 qualities, there are 5 more that Krishna possesses, which are also possessed by Lord Shiva, and maybe sometimes Brahma in small quantity. Okay, so he also possesses 5 more qualities that the human beings don't have. So Shiva Tattva is superior to the Jiva Tattva. Jiva Tattva, so though we say Shiva, he came from the forehead of Lord Brahma, but still Lord Shiva is he is superior to all living entities. He's almost on the platform of Lord Narayan, but he is, because he is in touch with the modes of nature, therefore he is different, right? And the Brahma Samhita also is described that like milk and dahi, they are the same in one sense, but they're different. Dahi, because of its contact with certain stuff, it becomes dahi. Milk becomes dahi. So Lord Shiva, Shiva Tattva, he has 5 additional qualities that jivas don't have. And then, so that's 55. 55, qualities that he possesses. And then, over and above that, there are 5 more qualities. Okay, 5 more qualities that are possessed by Lord Narayan. Okay, Lord Narayan, he possesses 5 more qualities which are not even possessed by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. So therefore Vishnu, and that is called Vishnu Tattva. So Vishnu Tattva means 60 out of those 64 qualities. There are 60 qualities that Lord Vishnu has in unlimited measure. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, these trinity of material creation, the creation, the trinities who are controllers of this creation, the creator, the maintainer, and the destroyer, they have these qualities in unlimited measure. We have them in very limited. We have only 48 qualities, and that too in limited measure. But Brahma has those 50 qualities in unlimited measure. Then Shiva has 55 in full measure, and Lord Vishnu has 60 in full measure. So I don't want to get too technical on all of you, but I'll just touch on it slightly so that you get a feel of what we are talking, right? So what are the 5 extra qualities that Lord Shiva has that the Jiva Tattva does not have? One, changeless. He doesn't change. Second, all cognizant, means all knowing. Third, ever fresh. Third, a fourth, Satchidananda, meaning possessing an eternal blissful body. Lord Shiva's body doesn't change. Fifth, possessing all mystic perfection. Okay. And then what are the 5 qualities that Lord Narayan has, which even Lord Shiva doesn't possess? Uh, 56, he has inconceivable potency. 57, uncountable universes generate from his body. 58, he is the original source of all incarnations. 59, he is the giver of salvation to the enemies whom he kills also. Even those he kills, he is able to give salvation. And 60, he is the attractor of liberated souls. So these transcendental qualities are all manifest in the body of Krishna as well, in the personal feature of Lord Krishna as well. But over and above these 60, so those who want to know what are those 50 qualities that are counted as Jiva Tattva, I would request you to refer to the 21st chapter of the Nectar of Devotion, where they are enumerated. In fact, all 64 are enumerated. So you can go through that. I'll not spend that time over here. But even Lord Narayan, who has 60 qualities in full measure, there are 4 specific, beyond the 60 transcendental qualities, Krishna has 4 more qualities which are not manifest even in Lord Narayan. Even in Lord Vishnu, those 4 qualities are not manifested. What to speak of, the demigods, devatas, devis? What to speak of us? Hum to, matlab, we are nowhere, right? So there are 4 special qualities that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of all incarnations, the source of Lord Vishnu, source of Brahma and Shiva, he has these 4 qualities. So what are these 4 qualities? So first, which is, he is the performer of wonderful varieties of pastimes, what we call Lila Madhuri. So there are 4 Madhuri, which make, Krishna very sweet and very special. Even what Lord Narayan doesn't, exhibit these in the, these qualities. So first is his Lila Madhuri. So Krishna performs such wonderful pastimes. We have discussed some of these. Obviously, if you are, आप एक even a well may, even in a well, if you take a bucket and you remove that, bucket of water from the well, there is so much water in the well that वो bucket निकाला तो भी well को कुछ फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता है, and you can't even see, there's so much water. What to speak of a lake or a river or an ocean, right? From an ocean, what you can talk, so literally the pastimes of Krishna are unlimited. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned that, Ananta Shesh with his 1,000 hoods, he is glorifying Krishna's pastimes, and with his 1,000 hoods, he is glorifying Krishna's pastimes since time immemorial. But he has still not finished the job. काम खत्म नहीं हुआ, and जब तक काम थोड़ा आगे बढ़ता है, Krishna's glories expand even further. So this is Lord, this is God. He's unlimited. His glories are unlimited. We have to understand that he is not ordinary, like even ordinary living beings. We do so many things during the day. दिन में हम लोग कितने सारे काम करते हैं, इतने सारे, we do so many services, we do so much sense gratification, we do so much planning, we do so many things in the course of the day. So what to speak of the Supreme Lord, who is controller of everything? He has unlimited qualities, and he has full knowledge of everything that is going on in this world. He's unlimited. So Lila Madhuri, Krishna's Leela is unlimited. We can only touch maybe a very, 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 very small fraction of Krishna's Leela. And that too, I am not a very good narrator of Leela. There are many people, like we have in our temple, we have Vishuru Prabhu. We have so many, brahmacharis also who speak Katha very wonderfully. I am someone not blessed with that. But yeah, Krishna's Leela is sweet. Whoever relates it, even if the person is not good at relating it, because the Leela is sweet, you have to accept it. So Lila Madhuri. The second special quality that Krishna has is what we call Venu Madhuri, which is what we're going to discuss a little bit today. So he can attract all living entities all over the universe simply by playing on his flute. So we'll discuss that a little bit. So I won't talk about it here. Uh, then the third, quality, special quality, and this Venu Madhuri, even Lord Narayan doesn't have, right? Narayan doesn't have it, and Lord Shiva doesn't have it. Brahma, nobody has a flute. It's only Krishna who has this flute. So, and that flute is very, very special. Then the third one, which is special about Krishna, he is always surrounded by devotees who are endowed with a wonderful love of Krishna, love of Godhead, as Rupa Goswami says, that all, Krishna is always surrounded by his devotees who have pure love for him. And this is something that is a very special opulence. You see, you don't see much about, Lord Narayan, who's surrounded by, he is in Vaikuntha, he's surrounded by his devotees. But, the Prema Madhuri, the love that Krishna's devotees have for him, and the different rasas of love that they have for him in Shantaras, in Dasyaras, in Sakyaras, in Vatsalyaras, in Madhuryaras, all these different rasas that Krishna's devotees have for him. This is not seen anywhere else. Very extraordinary. And that is why the Lila Madhuri combined with Venu Madhuri and combined with the Prema Madhuri makes it a very overwhelming mixture. You can imagine a pastime of Krishna where he is playing his flute surrounded by his devotees, and they are observing his beautiful face, which is his Rupa Madhuri. The fourth one is a wonderful excellence of beauty which Krishna has, which cannot be rivaled anywhere in creation. There is nothing and no one in the entire creation who is as beautiful as Krishna. That beauty is unrivaled. There are no adjectives that are sufficient to describe the beauty of Krishna. You have to just accept it that it is unlimitedly beautiful. Krishna is very, very beautiful. The picture that you can see here in my background, this is one of the paintings that is done by, I think, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. This is from krishna.com. So beautiful, just look at it, right? Krishna, Rupa Goswami says that if you are attached, okay, everyone just pay attention to this one. If you are attached to this material world, he says, don't go to Vamsivat. Don't go to Vamsivat, where, on the banks of the Yamuna, don't go to Vamsivat, where you will see this beautiful Sham Sundar, curved, Tribhang Sundar, curved in three poses, three places he's curved, at his neck, at his waist, and his knees. He's curved in three places, Tribhanga Sundar. Don't go to that place. Don't look at that Sham Sundar, and don't listen to him playing the flute. आपका सब material desire खत्म हो जाएगा. You will be finished. You will not have any material desire after that, because if you are attached to your family, if you are attached to your designations, your wealth, your ideas, you're very attached to these things, don't go. वहां जाके श्याम सुंदर भगवान को देखोगे तो सब कुछ भूल जाओगे. You will forget everything. So this is like a poetic way, as they say, negative psychology, right? Sometimes we tell the children that nahi, I think this sabji is not nice, you will not like it, don't eat it. I'm sure you will not love it. Then they are very curious. No, I want to try. If you tell them that this is very good for you, very healthy, then they don't feel like eating it. You tell them, no, ये तेको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, you don't eat this, don't serve him. Then they want it immediately. So sometimes, this is Rupa Goswami using negative psychology, saying that don't go, मत जाओ, आपसे सहन नहीं होगा ये. Bhagwan ki beauty. And here also, if you can see in this image over here, Krishna is giving what we call a sidelong glance. From his side of his eyes, he's looking at us. He's looking at us that beta kab aoge mere sang mein. When will you leave this miserable material world? When will you stop struggling over here? When will you come back to me? So Murlidhar, Vamshidhar, Venudhari, he is playing his flute to attract our hearts. You know, that please come back to Godhead. Come back to me. I want you back. Right? Krishna is very possessive. He leaves us in the material world because we have a desire to be separate from him. But he never gives up on us. He wants us to be there. He wants us to, be with him in the spiritual world and have a loving personal relationship with him. This is Krishna, right? So Venudhari, and this in this particular verse, you can imagine, in the Brahma Samhita, what we sing this verse every day. I don't know how many of you notice, during the Shringar Darshan, every day we sing this verse, which is sung by Yamuna Mataji. Venum Kwanantam Aravindadalayataksam Parahavatam Samakshitam Uda Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shubham Govedam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this verse is from the Brahma Samhita, and every day we sing it, we may not really be knowing the meaning. That's why Prabhupada has given the meaning over here. I worship Govinda. Govinda. Last time we discussed, Govinda is one of the names that Krishna loves to be called because it reminds him of his dearest loving cows, right? I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute, Venu. His eyes are like lotus flowers. Lotus flowers, the lotus petals, his eyes are like lotus flowers. He's decorated with peacock feathers, peacock plumes, and his body color resembles a fresh black cloud. There is one particular picture of Krishna, which is one of my personal favorites. Somehow I'm never able to find that picture when I'm really looking for it. मेरे को वो दिखता नहीं है. Very beautiful picture of Krishna, playing the flute only, and it's very reddish, dark color, very nice, very beautiful picture. So Krishna's beauty is like this. His color, that image, it best represents the color of Krishna. Even here you can see, resembling a fresh monsoon cloud, little dark, not very dark, very beautiful. This color of Krishna is very, very beautiful. So here Prabhupada is saying, he's in this particular verse, Brahmaji is saying, he's explaining the beauty. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. He's saying that he is more beautiful than millions of cupids, his bodily features. So Cupid is Kandarpa. Kandarpa is Cupid, who is the god of love, who strikes with his feathered arrows, strikes arrows of love in our heart. When we fall in love with somebody, most of the time, material world, it is lust. Even our love is only disguised lust. But yeah, Kandarpa, he has got the whole world under his spell. But Krishna is Madan Mohan. Madana is Kandarpa. Madana is this Cupid. But Krishna is Madan Mohan, because when Madan sees Krishna's beauty, he falls unconscious. My God, what is this? He's not able to tolerate. So we also, with our material senses, actually, last time we discussed that Krishna is playing his flute, but we can't hear it. Similarly, Krishna is unlimitedly beautiful. See, when we go and stand in front of Shishi Radha Gopinath in ISKCON Chowpatty, right? Or Radha Ras Bihari in ISKCON Juhu, or Radha Giridhari in ISKCON Mira Road, or Madan Mohan in ISKCON Khargar. There were 4 ISKCON temples in Mumbai. Hopefully, by Krishna's grace, we'll have more in the time to come. But we already have 4 temples in Mumbai. So when we stand in front of the Lord, right, we don't have the eyes to see. We don't have the eyes to see the beauty of Krishna. We can only imagine ki, oh, okay, so beautifully Krishna Gopinath has been dressed so nicely. And by seeing that, we feel enamored, we feel attracted. Oh, Krishna, you're so beautiful. But स्टिल हम लोग को फुल उसका जानीव नहीं है, बोलते हैं ना मराठी में जानीव करके वर्ड है कुछ, तो बोलते हैं कि यू नॉट रियली अंडरस्टूड, यू नॉट गॉट द एसेंस ऑफ इट, यू जस्ट गॉट अ ग्लिम्स, झलकी मिला है अपने को, पूरा समझा नहीं है. Unless the Lord or his pure devotees grace comes upon us, we will not understand. There is a story of Ramanujacharya from the Shri Sampradaya. So he used to live in Sri Rangam, Sri Rangam, beautiful temple of Lord Ranganath, famous, world famous temple of Lord, beautiful big deity, several, maybe around, I think at least he is around 15-20 feet long, I don't know, it's very beautiful big deity. So Lord Ranganath is in a Sheshashai position, lying down like that. And Ramanujacharya and his followers, they used to worship in the temple of Lord Ranganath. And once what happened was, they had taken out the Utsav Murti of Lord Ranganath. And in Sri Rangam, when the Lord comes out onto the road, it's a big festival. Everyone gathers and everyone is in ecstasy. They are, dancing, chanting the Lord's names and everything. So big procession was going on. Everyone focused, trying to get darshan of the Lord. And then Ramanujacharya saw that there was this one person, very well built, muscular, like a wrestler. He had a body like a wrestler, very handsome, good looking person. And he was, with an umbrella in his hand. He was following after a particular lady and very carefully he was shielding her from the sun. तो थोड़ा भी उसको सन का एक किरण भी नहीं लगना चाहिए, एकदम प्रेम से, he was big guy, and carefully shielding this beautiful lady. And usko, he was oblivious, completely oblivious to what is going on over there. इतना जोर से शहनाई बज रहा है, drums are being beaten, Lord's procession is going. This guy is oblivious. And Ramanujacharya is seeing him here, ye kya chal raha hai? What is this person? And he was just looking at him. And he was quite fascinated, right? So sometimes, this is what is called, kya bolte hai? It is causeless mercy. We are having no qualifications to get in touch with devotees, to get in touch with the holy name, to get in touch with the books of Srila Prabhupada. We have no qualification. But somehow some devotee, sees us and says, "Bechara chalo yaar, iske saath kuch, let's give him some mercy." And out of their very merciful nature, they somehow glance upon us and say, "Lord, if you want, you can make this person a devotee." And that's how many of us became devotees. We had no hope. So he saw this person and he told his disciples, "Call that person here. I want to talk to him." So, which person? That person, the fellow who's holding the umbrella. So they went up to him and they said, and they knew his name was Dhanurdhar. His name was Dhanurdhar. So they went up to Dhanurdhar and they told him, "Dhanurdhar, we want you to please come forward, and our Gurudev wants to meet." And they were calling him and he was not even paying attention. They were, tapping him, calling out his name, Dhanurdhar, and he is so focused on that lady. Usko aur kuch nazar nahi aa raha. He's not able to see anything. He's just looking at her. That's it. And then with great difficulty they catch his attention. And they say, "Arey Baba, Gurudev, the Acharya is calling you. Ramanujacharya wants to meet you." He said, "Oh, he wants to meet me? Okay. Why he wants to meet me? He wants to meet you. You come." He goes and meets with Ramanujacharya, and Ramanujacharya tells him that there is such a big procession going on over here, so much sound, so much so much activity, but you are oblivious. तुमको तो दिख ही नहीं रहा है वहां पे भगवान का इतना सुंदर दर्शन जा रहा है, इतने devotees are dancing, chanting, so much pomp is going on, and you are oblivious. You're just looking at that woman. That's it. So how come? So that man Dhanurdhar, he replies, I am so sorry, Acharya, but that woman is so beautiful. Her eyes are so extraordinarily beautiful that मेरे हिसाब से इस दुनिया में इससे सुंदर कोई चीज ही नहीं है. There is nothing more beautiful than her eyes. Like that song is there, तेरी आंखों के सिवा दुनिया में रखा क्या है. right? He was on that platform. ये उठे सुबह चले, ये झुके शाम ढले, मेरा जीना मेरा मरना इसी something tale. I don't remember what the full thing is, but this is what he was saying. He's saying her eyes are so beautiful. बॉस मेरे को और कुछ नहीं मालूम, मुझे सिर्फ उसकी आंखों में देखते रहना है. So beautiful. So Ramanujacharya, he becomes very merciful to him. He says, okay, if I show you something that is more beautiful than her eyes, will you surrender to that? He says, not possible. मतलब ये आप बोल रहे हो, ठीक है, आपको इतना experience नहीं है, not possible. There's nothing more beautiful than that. He said, if I show you, will you? He says, yes, I am willing. I will surrender immediately. He says, tomorrow morning, you please come to Sri Ranganath temple during the time of the Aarti. Please come. Okay. So next morning he comes to the temple of Lord Ranganath. And when he comes there, he sees Lord Ranganath's form. And Ramanujacharya is intensely praying to the Lord, my Lord, please reveal yourself. Please reveal your unlimited beauty to this person. So this Lord Ranganath's form is actually very long, as I said, right? Very long. He's sleeping form. So when he is sleeping, during Aarti, what they do is they take the lamp and they bring it near the lotus feet of the Lord so that you can see his lotus feet. It's not very well lit. The temple is quite dark. Only the diya se aapko darshan dhang se milta hai. So they show his lotus feet, they show his waist, and then when they brought it to his lotus face, the Lord's lotus face, when they were showing the Aarti, when this Dhanurdas, when he saw Dhanurdar or Dhanurdas, I think Dhanurdas, when Dhanurdas saw the face of Lord Ranganath, he might have seen that face many times before. बहुत बार देखा रहेगा उसने. And अभी हम लोग अपने मटेरियल आइज से देखते हैं ना, तो हमको इतना ब्यूटीफुल लगता भी नहीं है वो. इट्स लाइक सिल्वर आईज पुट ऑन टॉप ऑफ द फेस ऑफ द लॉर्ड. वो देख के क्या हमें ब्यूटी समझेगा, कुछ ब्यूटी नहीं लगता. बट व्हेन ही सॉ, because he had got the chakshu given by the guru, we say, right, om agyan timirandhasya ज्ञानांजना शलाकाय चक्षुर उन्मिलितम येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. The Lord, reveals himself to us if the Guru is graceful, merciful upon us, and gives us those chakshu, gives us those eyes by which we can see. Many people say, show me God. If you say God exists, show me God. Prabhupada would say God is not some cheap person, where some loafer like you comes and says that show me God, he will just come and stand before you. Even if he is standing, even when he is standing in front of you, you will not be able to see because you don't have the eyes to see. Like with my eyes, I can't even read now anymore. It is becoming difficult for me to read. Without spectacles, तो मेरे को पढ़ने को होता ही नहीं है. It's very tough. If someone shows me, like sometimes now see unique problems, right? Material world, how things get difficult with time. Some eyelash has gone in my eye. To see that eyelash, I need specs. To remove the eyelash, I have to remove the specs. And you're struggling कि दिख नहीं रहा है वो, और तुम उसको निकालने का कोशिश कर रहा है. Material world, miserable place. Misery is created by small things. You don't need some massive, Ukraine Russia war. You can be miserable just sitting in your place. Your tailbone starts paining and you can't sit. You get piles and you can't sit. बैठ भी नहीं सकते, बताओ. Right? But anyway, this is a distraction, it's a deviation. So be with our eyes what we can understand the beauty of the Lord. Because of the grace of Ramanujacharya, this person was able to observe the beauty, and then he was completely bowled over. He went and paid obeisances to Ramanujacharya and said, Gurudev, I surrender, And then Ramanujacharya got both him and that woman, he got them married. And then they became the greatest. There are more stories, but there's no time, so I'm not getting into that. They became some of the greatest Grihastha disciples of Ramanujacharya. This is the beauty of Krishna, right? So if you are very attached to material life, don't go to Vamsivat. Don't see the Tribanga beautiful form, Sham Sundar Krishna, and don't listen to his flute, right? So this flute, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying the extraordinary fortune of the Brajvasis that they could hear this flute. It's a very, very special opulence of Krishna. And it is described there are three types of flutes. Krishna has three types of flutes. So one flute is what is called Venu. Venu is a very small one. It is only 6 inches long, just this much. 6 inches is just this much, right? Approximately this much. 6, that ruler, अपना छोटा ruler रहता है ना, उतना 6 inch का है, and it has 6 holes for whistling. So this Venu is played by Krishna in certain situations. Then Murli, right? Murli, like what we see in Radha Gopinath, the Lord Radha Gopinath, it is either Murli or it is Vamshi, long one. So this Murli is about 18 inches long, which is about 1.5 feet, right? It has one hole at the end and 4 holes on the body of the flute. And this kind of flute produces a very enchanting sound. So this is the description given for Murli. Venu is only 6 inches. Murli is 18 inches. It's a longer flute with only 4 holes. And then there is the Vamshi. This Vamshi has about 15 inches. It's about 15 inches in length. And it has 9 holes on its body. And the sound produced by the Vamshi, it is described that people in this material world can't hear it also. It is something very different, right? So we will try and discuss a little bit about these different notes of the flute and the effect that it has. As I said, this is something that is beyond our understanding, and it is beyond our हमारी औकात नहीं है सुनने की. But अगर हम लोग ये Srila Prabhupada की कृपा से, because of the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, somehow he has given us in Nectar of Devotion, in various books, he has spoken about some of these things. In the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Krishna book, in the 10th chapter, in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 21st chapter is called Venu Geet. So Venu Geet is the song sung by the gopis, glorifying and even criticizing the flute. Okay, they are criticizing the flute. They can't tolerate the flute. They are, it's a rasa. It is because in intense love for Krishna, the gopis sometimes criticize. They can't tolerate, because kya hai, we should not try to imitate, saying I love Krishna so much that I will criticize everybody. We should not try to imitate that. But the gopis, it is described that when they are looking at Krishna, when Krishna is in front, उनके समक्ष है, भगवान उनके समक्ष है. So जब भगवान उनके समक्ष है, तो अगर वो भगवान का दर्शन ले रहे, they are looking at the unlimited beauty which we just described, the unlimited, uncontrollable beauty of Krishna. When they are looking at it, every few seconds the eyes blink, right? पलक झपकना है जैसे, पलक झपकते ही, पलक झपक, actually the blinking of an eyelid is some 1 fraction of a second, 1/6 or 1/12 of a second or something like that. Somebody can correct me, I don't remember exactly. I think it is 1/12 of a second. That is how short the blinking of an eye is. Now the gopis are saying that this creator Brahma, उसको he is not very expert, उसको बराबर नहीं आता ये सब creation करना. What kind of creation is this in which we have to blink our eyes? Because when we blink our eyes, for that fraction of a second, we are not getting the darshan of Krishna. We are not able to see him. We are not able to drink the beauty, the nectar of his beauty. We are not able to drink it for that fraction of a second. And that 1 fraction of a second feels like 1 yuga. Yugaitam nimishena. Right? What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is singing in the Shikshashtakam. Yugaitam nimishena. 1 nimisha, which is a small fraction of a second, it feels like 1 yuga for these devotees. and they're so pure in their heart that even their criticism of Brahma is coming from a position ki अरे क्या कैसा बनाया आपने यार, जरा सोच के बनाते कि हमको भगवान का दर्शन नहीं मिलता, right? So that is their, so same way they are, they are I will not touch much on it because it is too exalted a topic and it is very esoteric. So I don't want to touch upon it because the audience over here, we may or may not appreciate it. But if you are interested, read Krishna book, it's all there, right? If you have Krishna book at home, you haven't read it, today is an auspicious day. Okay, why is it an auspicious day? Because today we thought about it. If you're not started reading Krishna book, just pick it up and start reading. Every day take Krishna book, read one chapter. Your life will be very auspicious. Before sleeping in the night, last thing you can do is read Krishna book. Very beautiful, such nice stories. There are some parts which have philosophy, but mostly it is the story of the pastimes of Krishna. Very nice. So the flute, they're saying कि ये flute ने क्या pious activity किया होगा? What pious activity this flute has done that it is always so close to Krishna? It is always on his lips. The nectar of Krishna's lips, that flute is getting. वो हमारा बैरी है. He is our enemy. We can't tolerate that. What is this flute का pious credit that it is able to get this? So like this, they're criticizing the flute also. But at the same time, they are completely under the control of that flute. When Krishna plays the flute, everyone forgets everything. So what is the effect? So it is described that Krishna has different notes. When he plays one particular note, one effect happens. He plays another note, another effect happens. We also see this, and we may feel कि ये सब मन घड़त है, ये सब कहानियां हैं, इसको हमें इतना seriously नहीं लेना चाहिए. No, we can experience this in our day-to-day life also. Like you might have seen, I used to listen to a lot of music, right? Before I came to Krishna consciousness, I still have, I must admit, I still have great attachment for good music. If someone sings nicely, whether it is Western music, it is Hindi music, Indian music, classical music, non-classical music, someone sings nicely, someone plays a musical instrument very beautifully, immediately it touches my heart. I am very attached to music, right? So even in music, you'll see expert musicians, they are singing. Sometimes we see even our Hare Krishna devotees. Of course, musicians outside, they do this only. But but even our devotees do it sometimes. They are chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you see, just one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we went through 3 levels. It started a level, went to the next level, went to the next level. When devotees sing like this with harmonium and the pitch changing, everyone goes into ecstasy. Even even materialistic singers, they use this. They change the pitch at which they're singing. Same song, same stanza, but they sing it in a different pitch, and it increases the ecstasy of the listeners. So if ordinary materialistic people in this world can manipulate a musical instrument, can manipulate their vocal cords to play different notes, we say that the Supreme Lord can't do this? Oh, of course he can. He can do anything. And when Krishna does anything, it is unlimitedly attractive, right? Venu Madhuri. Krishna's Venu Madhuri is so attractive that सब कुछ बदल जाता है. The whole world comes to a standstill when Krishna plays his flute. So, I have picked up some of these descriptions from various places. Forgive me if I have made mistakes in this, but I've just picked up whatever I could find. So it said that when he is standing in this tribhanga, threefold bending form, under a kadamba tree in the forest of Vrindavan, Sham Sundar, Sham Sundar, Sham means dark, or like a rain cloud. Sham Sundar, he puts his most fortunate flute to his soft red lips and blows into its holes, into the holes of the flute. He starts blowing. What happens? A most divine melody springs forth. मतलब वो एक सुंदर जो जो सुर है वो प्रकट हो जाता है. It just manifests, it springs forth. And what is the effect of this? When Krishna plays, and he's standing Kadamba tree in the forest of Vrindavan, maybe on the banks of Yamuna, he's standing and he starts playing this flute, the laws of material nature change. Everyone forgets. Kabhi kabhi, if you're listening to a very ecstatic musical performance, or you're watching something which we get so absorbed, we forget who we are. We forget our miseries. Sometimes in kirtan, if some very nice, very rip-roaring kirtan is going on, in those moments you would have observed, when kirtan is going, sankirtan, not just our chanting. When a chanting, a mind goes everywhere. But when kirtan is going on, sankirtan is going on, at that time, no other thoughts enter into the mind. It's like एक कान के ऊपर, माइंड के ऊपर एक चादर चढ़ गया. अभी वो चादर चढ़ गया तो और कोई चीज आता नहीं. Only the kirtan is there. That's it, right? We get so absorbed. And when we are absorbed, we sometimes forget who we are. We forget all our anxieties. We forget what we were doing. We stop doing what we were doing. Somebody, कभी कभी होता है ना, आप आप ऐसे ही बैठे हो अपने रूम में और नीचे से कोई फ्लूट बेचने वाला जा रहा है. He is playing a flute and he is playing such a beautiful melody. You are forced to give up what you're doing and go to the window and see भाई कौन है, इतना सुंदर बजा रहा है, so nice, right? So when Krishna plays his flute, this divine melody which comes out, the Yamuna stands still. Yamuna is a flowing river. वो स्थिर हो जाता है. It stops moving. हिलना ही चालू बंद हो जाता है. Then the cows and the calves which are chewing grass, they stop chewing. They stop chewing. Last time we discussed that the cows who have gone for various places for pasturing, when Krishna plays his flute, they stop eating the grass with their ears raised. कान ऐसे खड़े हो जाते हैं and इस सुंदर वाणी का वो लोग पूरा they just get absorbed. They start listening with their hearts completely engrossed in the beautiful sound of the flute. Great rapture to the flute song of their beloved Gopal. Gopal is playing the flute and they are completely in raptures just hearing that sound of that flute, right? Then the calves who were drinking milk from the udders of their mothers, from the cows, they're drinking milk. They also forget to drink. और उनके मुंह में जो milk है, they also are listening. They also stop drinking the milk. They start looking at the in the direction of the sound, and the milk is still in their mouth. They forget to swallow that milk because they're just stunned, स्तब्ध, as जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, स्तब्ध हो गया. तो ये भगवान की वेणु से ये जो मधुर वाणी निकल रही है, ये सुन के सारे भक्तगण स्तब्ध हो जाते हैं. We become stunned, don't know what to do. The cows are wondering, what do I do? Do I eat? Do I stand here? Do I go towards Krishna? They are completely bewildered by the sound. Then the calves, as I said, the milk is still in their mouth. They stop drinking milk. Milk is in their mouth. They don't even swallow it. The deers are standing with their ears raised. looking at Krishna with great love, and the calves come and they start licking the feet of Krishna. That attraction is so much. They are not able to control their emotions. They come forward to Krishna's lotus feet. They start licking his feet. They lick his lotus feet. The peacocks, they start dancing in ecstasy. And they're dancing. They don't know what to do. They can't stop dancing. They're dancing. The parrots, they stop their activities. The parrots are singing all the time. You see, we're lucky, we're fortunate that we have a lot of parrots just in front of our building. There's a big tree, and in that tree there are dozens of parrots. Every day we can hear the parrots singing, especially in the mornings you can hear them. So the parrots, the deers, the peacocks, they all stop their activities and they listen with great attention. And the stones of Govardhan, they start melting in ecstasy. So stone is what sthavar hai wo. It is not a moving, wo hilne wala cheez nahi hai, wo sthavar hai. So this non-moving mountain of Govardhan, when Govardhan hears the flute of Krishna, the stones on Govardhan start melting. So it is described that there are many, like if you go to Shishi Radha Damodar Mandir, where Srila Prabhupada spent 6 years of his life in Shishi Radha Damodar Mandir in Vrindavan, where he used to write the volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, translating Srimad Bhagavatam for all of us between 1959 and 1965. So in Shishi Radha Damodar Mandir, there is one Shila there. On that Shila, there is the mark of Krishna's stick, his lotus feet, and one more thing, I think a hoof print of a calf also is there. Right? Remuna Prabhu, you remember? Anyone remembers?
Yeah, hoof
Sorry?
print of a calf. Hoof print of a calf is there.
Footprint of a calf is there. Then Krishna's flute mark is there. That Govardhan Shila was worshipped by Raghunath Das Goswami, one of our acharyas, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. He used to worship that Shila. So the stones of Govardhan, they start melting in ecstasy, and the trees, they start dancing. So that which is stationary starts moving, that which is moving becomes stationary. The birds which are flying in the sky, they come and take shelter of tree, because they will stop flying and they will fall to the ground, because they are so ecstatically absorbed in the sound of Krishna's flute. So this is a ecstatic effect that Krishna has when he starts playing his flute. And then each note, as I was saying, there are different notes that Krishna plays, and each of these notes has a different effect, and it is like, when Krishna plays a particular flute, those particular people are able to hear it. We say that the human being's hearing range is between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz, right? Something like that. Between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. Anything that's less than 20 hertz, we can't hear it. Anything that is more than 20,000 hertz, we can't hear it. Or, if it is playing very much loudly, it actually disturbs us, it disturbs the body. So, even in materialistic science, we can see there are certain sounds that we can't hear, but dogs can hear those sounds. So it's again not very difficult for us to imagine that Krishna is playing a particular note, which only that person for whom it is meant, that person gets the effect of that note. Usi pe wo parinam hota hai. So the first note, the note 1, the first note that Krishna plays, one particular. So there are 8 notes that are, we have heard of 5 notes mostly, but there are 3 more special notes. I had heard a lecture of Amarendra Prabhu, where he speaks about this Venu of Krishna. I had heard it a few months back. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to hear it again. He goes into great details, right? He's a महापंडित, so तो बहुत डिटेल में जाते हैं. I have only taken the essence over here, but I'll share whatever, whatever is there, the essence. So when the first note is played by Krishna, it is said that the demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, their meditation is broken. Brahma and Shiva, we can always see they are always in meditation. But when Krishna plays the first note, their meditation bhang ho jata hai, unka meditation. And they forget everything in great astonishment. And Lord Anantadev, he starts swaying his head as though he is hypnotized by listening to the first note of the flute. पहले ही note में सब, everything starts falling apart. That, the controllers of the universe, their meditation is disturbed. And they forget everything. They forget क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, सब भूल जाते हैं वो लोग. They just get absorbed in the sound of the flute. The second note, right? It is described when the second note is played by Krishna, the moon always orbits in a particular direction. But when Krishna plays the second note, everything becomes ulta. The moon starts traveling. Moon अपने विपरीत direction में घूमने चालू हो जाता है. It goes in opposite direction. And the Yamuna also starts flowing backwards. जो एक direction में जा रही है, Yamuna is going from west to east. She starts flowing from east back to west. Opposite direction में flow करना चालू कर. Second note. Then the third note, what happens is the moon stops moving. Moon also comes to a standstill, right? वो चांद भी रुक जाता है भगवान की इस वेणु का सुर सुनने के लिए. It stops moving. And the sun, which normally doesn't revolve, the sun starts revolving. Sun starts moving in all directions, right? Because वो लोग को अपने आप पे काबू नहीं है. They lose control of themselves. So the moon stops moving and the sun starts moving. Then the fourth note, when Krishna plays the fourth, so it's like each one he's got a particular tune. When he plays that tune, those people are affected by it. When he plays the fourth note of the of the flute, what happens is the cows, we described last time that the cows, when Krishna plays the fourth note, the cows start running towards Krishna with their ears raised, and they also get stunned by listening to the flute. So when Krishna plays the flute, each cow is able to hear their name in that flute. उनको अपना नाम सुनाई देता है. So it's very personal. The Lord, Supreme Lord, is not impersonal in nature. He is not the kind of person who's, अरे यार तुम समझ लो, मैं फ्लूट बजा रहा हूँ, समझ लो. No, each person, he reciprocates according to the rasa that they have with Krishna. He reciprocates accordingly. In the Gita, Krishna says in 4.11, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. If we approach Krishna without faith, we listen to all this katha with no faith in our heart. ठीक है, होगा, चलो कुछ कथा है, कुछ मन घड़त कथा है. If we approach this Krishna katha like that, then our experience will be like that. Krishna's flute, his katha, वो अपने हृदय को छू के भी नहीं जाएगा, right? That's why Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, I think in 2nd chapter, one of the verses, he says that the impersonalist, he can never taste the rasa of Krishna katha. It is like there's a bottle of honey and he's licking the bottle from outside. What a brilliant analogy Prabhupada gives. It is a bottle of honey and you're licking it from outside. You may lick for 1,000,000 years. आप करोड़ों साल तक वो बॉटल को लिक करो, आपको एक बूंद भी शहद का स्वाद नहीं आएगा. You have to open that bottle, put your finger inside, touch it to your tongue, then you will get. What is that opening the bottle? Opening the bottle means placing our faith, adho shraddha, in whom? Sadhu Sangha. Come into the association of devotees, place your faith and start. हम लोग क्या क्या नहीं सुनते. People who are utter strangers, right? I mean, I'm not in any way pulling anyone down, but people who are utter strangers, हमें ये नहीं पता उनका क्या अता पता है, उनका क्या credentials है. We don't know. Millions of people follow such people on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. Millions of people, tens of millions of people. And वो लोग जो भी बोलते हैं, कुछ भी बोलेंगे, people just lap it up. People just accept. Why we can't accept the words of devotees? I always wonder. You know, there is always minority in Hari Katha, right? Right now, how many people are there? Yeah, there are 32 people, including me. So maybe we say there is maybe one or two people are there sitting together, husband, wife. So maybe we have, you know, around 40, 45 people listening to this. Max, 45 people. At same time, right now, if there's a cricket match going on, right? Even from our HPCL community, maybe many people will be listening there. They won't be here. They won't choose to hear. And what to speak of the entire world? Majority is there only, no? Everyone wants to place their faith in unknown people. There is this guy called Simon Sinek. Okay, he's a big influencer. He speaks sense also. I am not blaspheming him. He speaks sense, but what he's speaking is nothing great. It's common sense. It's just that he's become so popular. Whatever he says, oh, gospel truth. Everyone is very impressed. But if you speak genuine Hari Katha, there are very few takers. We are the minority. Right? We people don't want to place faith. You know, if you go to someone and you try to give them Krishna Katha, many people they look at you कि तू क्या बात कर रहा है? You know, they have that expression on your face that they're looking through you. You are trying your best, you know, to somehow catch their attention, give them some Hari Katha, give them something which will stick, and they are looking at you, but they're looking through you. They're not interested because they feel कि ये सब relevant नहीं है. चलो ठीक है, अभी आके बैठना पड़ा तो बैठ गए. चलो, till it gets over, we have to tolerate. They just tolerate, right? So Prabhupada is saying that this nectar of Krishna, very impersonalist, you will never get it, right? You will never understand. So these kathas of, you know, Krishna's flute, Krishna's pastimes, you know, we may be tempted to think कि ये mythology है, right? And there are people in this world who become very famous, carry the title mythologist. They're very proud of it. I am the premier mythologist of India. And the rubbish that they write about, you know, our scriptures, about our gods, about our, you know, our Vedas, the rubbish that they write is most unfortunate, you know. But like I said, millions of followers. So we have to be clear. See, those of you who are on this call, the minority, 31 of us, you are on 32, includes me also. I can't exclude myself. You know, even we also don't have 100% faith, right? We're all strugglers. We're all sadhakas. We have to do only one thing. जो सुनने में आ रहा है ना, पूरे श्रद्धा के साथ सुनो. पूरे हृदय को ऐसा ओपन कर दो. Open your heart and listen with faith. Because क्या पता एक कोई चीज है जो हमारे हृदय को छू जाएगी. Today morning, Gaurang Prabhu was telling a story, you know, of one person who came to a book distributor. So remember, Prabhu, if I get it wrong, please correct me. Okay, whoever else who was there in the Bhagavatam today, Sachin Prabhu, Brahmankar Prabhu. So this person, he comes to a book distributor and he says, "मेरे को coming back चाहिए, coming back." So that person says, "coming back नहीं है, but I have this teachings of Lord of Prahlad Maharaj." He says, "नहीं, मेरे को coming back ही चाहिए." तो बोलते हैं कि नहीं, कमिंग बैक नहीं है, बट ये भी अच्छा है. दिस इज आल्सो गुड बुक, प्रभुपाद्स बुक, वेरी गुड बुक. यू शुड हियर, यू कैन रीड दिस आल्सो. ही सेज, मेरे को कमिंग बैक चाहिए, वरना मेरे को नहीं चाहिए. आई वांट ओनली कमिंग बैक. नाउ दिस डिवोटी, दिस इज भाई, ये कमिंग बैक का इतना क्या तुम्हारा प्रेम है? यू नो, व्हाट इज द ग्रेट अट्रैक्शन यू हैव फॉर कमिंग बैक? यू नो, सो ही आस्क्ड हिम. So he says that nahi, ऐसे ही एक बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर को मैं कुछ 2-3 साल पहले मिला था, एंड वो बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर ने मेरे हाथ में थमा दिया था, कमिंग बैक, रीड दिस, टेक अ लुक. So I just opened on some page, and I just saw some one or two lines I saw. But that line, it had such a profound effect on my life. I went away from that place, but I kept thinking about that line that I had read from, the Coming Back book, which is written by Srila Prabhupada, right? So he just saw that one sentence and he went away, but he was meditating on that sentence, and that sentence had such a profound effect on his life that he came back कि बॉस ये डिवोटी लोग को देखने का पकड़ने का है और coming back चाहिए मेरे को. So this devotee who was distributing the book, after hearing this story, was very impressed. He said, "Wonderful यार, आपको इतना कमिंग बुक में एक सेंटेंस पढ़ के आपके जीवन में इतना परिणाम आया, क्या बात है, बढ़िया है." तो उन्होंने कहा, "Now devotees are very intelligent, no, book distributors are very intelligent." उसने बोला कि ये एक बुक पढ़ के, एक बुक में से एक लाइन पढ़ के आपके जीवन में इतना फर्क आ गया, तो ये बुक भी है, दिस इज ऑल्सो रिटन बाय सेम ऑथर, इज रिटन बाय प्रभुपाद ओनली, व्हाट गॉड नोस, इसमें से एक लाइन पढ़ के आपकी जिंदगी में फिर से फर्क आ जाएगा, तो आप ये बुक अभी ले लो और मैं आपको कमिंग बैक भी दिलवा दूंगा, आई विल गेट यू द बुक. So finally he got in the book. So same way, we also, when we attend these satsangs, right, whoever is speaking, sometimes I speak, sometimes Remuna Prabhu speaks, sometimes we have got Braj Mohan Prabhu to speak, sometimes Prem Hari Prabhu has come, sometimes other devotees may come, whoever may come to speak. Who is the speaker is not important. How they speak is not important. कोई एकदम flamboyant style, right? I have a bit of a flamboyant style of speaking. Someone may speak very simple, very soft. Today morning, this japa class was given by our Vijay Govind Prabhu. Complete mode of goodness. He's a sadhu. If for those of you who don't know him, he's one of our counselors, very senior devotee, God brother, and he lives in Kanjurmarg. He's taking care of devotees in Kanjurmarg congregation. When he was speaking, very simple, very sweet. Those of you attended in the morning today the japa class, it was nectar, but in very sweet and very sattvic way he spoke it. So it's like like a soft shower, monsoon shower, garmi mein jo soft monsoon shower, not hard rain, soft monsoon shower, so pleasing to the heart, right? So the way people speak is different, the words they use may be different, the stories they tell will be different, the analogies they give will be different, but no matter what is being spoken, we come with Shraddha, we come with faith that I need this medicine. Gaurang Prabhu told another very important point today morning. One time some person came to Gaurang Prabhu and he told him कि बाबा इतना lecture सुनता हूँ मैं, but मेरे को एक word भी याद नहीं है, I don't remember even one word. Then what is the point in sitting for the lecture? It's a big challenge, right? So Gaurang Prabhu told him that no, you have a wife. Yes. You're married for 20 years. Yes. Now you have 20 saal se your wife is making meals for you. 2-3 times a day you are eating food. Correct. Are you nourished by that food? Correct. But if I ask you right now कि पिछले 20 साल का मेनू बताओ, what did your wife make last 20 years? Do you remember? No, Baba, I don't remember. He said, but were you nourished by it? Yes. So in the same way, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, we say, right, that Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. If we listen to this Srimad Bhagavatam daily, we read Srimad Bhagavatam daily, we come for these lectures, शायद कुछ पल्ले ना पड़े, शायद कुछ समझ में ना आए, कोई बात नहीं, आप आओ, आप श्रद्धा के साथ सुनो, invest your faith in this. Bring more people. Do your service of inviting people. Whether they come or not doesn't matter. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? आपने अपना काम कर दिया. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन. You preach to people, they may not become devotees. 20 years later, someone else preaches to them, they became devotee. And they come and tell, Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, आपने मुझे प्रचार किया था, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, but 20 साल बाद किसने प्रचार? चलेगा. Whichever way they came, no, it's good. We have to do our duty, invite people, join ourselves, listen, and take shelter of Harikatha. So we spoke about second note, and we're already at 8:15, so I'll start speeding up now. Third note bhi ho gaya. Fourth note bhi ho gaya. Fourth note, cows run to Krishna with their ears raised. They get stunned listening to the flute. The fifth note is a very special note. The fifth note attracts the hearts of the gopis, right? The gopis, who are the greatest, most surrendered devotees of Krishna, when they hear the, Krishna goes into the forest in the night and he plays this fifth note. This fifth note is passing through the air of Vrindavan and it enters into the ears of the gopis. When they hear it, they drop everything and they run to Krishna. They just, and sometimes, they're serving their husband, they leave that and run. Sometimes they're feeding their child, they leave that and run. Their in-laws are stopping them, they don't listen, they just go because Krishna is calling. Now this is, as we say, this is the highest level of surrender of the highest level of devotees. We don't understand, we see it from a very mundane, materialistic point of view. And because we're on that level, that's why we don't discuss this pastime. We don't go into it. We have to understand that these are people who are so surrendered to Krishna. They are not on the bodily platform. Ras Leela is not a bodily platform activity. It is a union of the Supreme Lord with his greatest devotees. It is not to be misunderstood by what we see in today's world, Garba and Dandiya Ras and all that. It is not that. It is pure, pristine. If it was not pure, why would a Goswami like Sukdev Goswami, why would he speak about it to Parikshit Maharaj, who himself is another Raja Rishi? Why would he even touch it? Why would the greatest of scholars, greatest of devotees over millenniums, why would they talk about this pastime if it was something mundane? It's not. So the fifth note of Krishna's flute, because of that, the gopis come running to him. They come to Vamsivat or wherever Krishna is standing. Then the sixth note, the sixth note when Krishna plays, the stones melt and Sharad Ritu starts. The autumn season starts. Irrespective of now you may say, the Lord has the potency to create any season, any time of the year. He is the Lord. He is the controller of the seasons. So when he plays the sixth note, the stones melt and Sharad Ritu starts. So stones melt. There's a beautiful pastime. It said that Krishna, when he was doing Govardhan Leela, we'll discuss, in subsequent, was those verses are coming, and I am looking forward to them. If you all are looking forward, very good. I am certainly looking forward. Those pastimes of Krishna are going to come very soon, not too far away. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we will try and talk about them. So when this Govardhan Leela happened, Krishna is holding the whole mountain on his pinky finger of his left hand, right? The weakest part of the body, he's holding it on that. And when he's holding it, with one hand he's holding, with the other hand he starts playing his flute. Because all the gopas are all standing there just looking at the beautiful, transcendental beauty of Sham Sundar. They're just looking at him. They're drinking the beauty of Sham Sundar, right? For their further Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. This Yamuna Tira Vanachari, this Lord who is standing on the banks of Yamuna, he becomes Braja Jana Ranjan. He says, let me entertain them. He starts playing his flute. And when he's playing his flute, all the Gopa friends stop him. Arey Baba, mat bajao. We have seen, apne aankhon se dekha hai, when you are playing the flute, the stones start melting. We have taken shelter of this Govardhan, and if you play and the Govardhan starts melting, What will happen? We'll all die. Papa, you don't place the flute, right? So this is the transcendental pastimes. Krishna is playing his flute and the Gopas are in anxiety. Papa, don't, please, my Lord, don't play. So like that. And Sharad Ritu starts. Sharad Ritu is between the monsoon and the winter. So the rains have stopped, but everything is nice and beautiful and green. And the winter, just the light breeze of winters have started. It's not yet cold. So that Sharad Ritu starts when he plays the sixth note. When he plays the seventh note, okay, so now we're going into something even more exotic. When the seventh note plays, all the seasons manifest at one time. Have you ever heard that at the same time, all the seasons manifest? The beautiful fragrance of flowers from all forests. He may be sitting in Nidhivan, but the flowers from Madhuvan, Vrindavan, Bhandirvan, all the different 12 forests of Vrindavan, the flowers from all forests, their fragrance comes to where Krishna is. All the seasons are manifest at the same time. There is Vasanta Ritu, there is Sharada Ritu, there is all the Ritus are there. It's very beautiful, right? So the fragrance travels towards Krishna, and all the seasons manifest. So as per the desire of Krishna, as per the particular rasa he is having at that point of time, he plays a particular flute, particular note of the flute, and all these unbelievable things happen, around him. And finally, it is described the eighth note. The fifth note is meant for all the gopis. But when Krishna plays the eighth note, and that is the last and final note, that note is meant only for Srimati Radharani. So when Krishna plays that note, nobody else hears it. Interestingly, when he plays this fifth note, the gopis are going crazy. They're hearing that note and they're just dropping what they're doing and they're running. Nobody else is able to hear it. Nobody else in Vrindavan is able to hear it. Nobody. Nobody who is not in that particular rasa with Krishna. Those who are in that Madhuri rasa, only they are able to hear it. Right? So similarly, the eighth note is so special. It is meant only for Srimati Radharani. So these are the magical effects that this notes, of Krishna has. We discussed today, we started talking about, how Krishna, he has 4 special qualities that even the Jiva Tattva, all of us don't have. We have 50 qualities in limited measure. Brahma has them in full measure. 5 qualities Lord Shiva has, which even Brahma doesn't have. 5 qualities Lord Narayan has, that Shiva and Brahma don't have. And 4 qualities that Krishna has that even Lord Narayan doesn't have. What are those? They are Lila Madhuri, beautiful pastimes. They are Venu Madhuri, beautiful flute, which is what we discussed in detail today. Then Prema Madhuri, beautiful, loving pastimes with his devotees, loving relationship with his devotees, always surrounded by devotees. And Rupa Madhuri, extraordinary beauty of Krishna. And we discussed Venu Madhuri in detail, that what are the 3 types of flutes, what are the effects of Krishna playing his flute, and the 8 different notes, how they have different effects on the devotees. So yes, I agree, very esoteric, very exotic topic, which many of us are, I would say most of us are not qualified to hear. I would certainly put myself in that category. But since it is there in the purport of Srila Prabhupada, I thought I should share it with all of you. I beg forgiveness from the Supreme Lord. I beg forgiveness from Srila Prabhupada and my Guru and all of you if I have made any mistakes or I have crossed my boundary in any of these things. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Venu Madhuri ki jai. Itai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So any comments, questions, anybody would like to add? There are many pastimes related to the flute, but we are not qualified to speak or hear it. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for that such wonderful, magical, stunning, melodious, lecture or the class that you have given. It was so moving, so wonderfully sad, thrilling actually. I had one question. This second note, third note, when Krishna plays third note, even moon stops moving and sun starts revolving. Now we know that things can get disturbed even if sun, changes its orbit a little bit or moon changes orbit. So even though Krishna is managing everything, or Krishna, everything happens with God of Krishna, what happens at the time when these physical things which have to be there are not there? Like moon stops its work, sun stops its work, of course, out of ecstasy.
Yeah, this is a question which I don't think I am qualified to answer. But suffice it to say, when the Lord wants to perform his pastimes, everything arranges itself. Swabhaviki. Srila Prabhupada uses this word. It is there in the scriptures. It's from the scriptures. It's from a verse in the scriptures. Swabhaviki. Remember, Prabhu, correct? Just help me here. I have forgotten. That very.
Swabhaviki bala kriya cha.
Swabhaviki bala kriya cha. That very naturally, very effortlessly things just manifest to make the situation just perfect for Krishna's pastime, for the Lord's pastime, right? So we just understand from that for a particular situation, Krishna plays his flute in a particular way, and then everything, like it is described during the Ras Leela, it was like the duration, time stopped. Time never stops, right? We say time, tide doesn't wait for anyone, but they do stop. Time and tide stop for Krishna. They don't stop for us. They do stop for Krishna. So when that happens, it's like, yeah, some of you might have seen this Mahabharata serial, which used to come, some 7-8 years back. Of course, the old Mahabharata was there, which used to come 25-30 years back. But some 7-8 years back, there was a very beautiful Ramayana, very nicely, very bona fide way they have shown, Ramayana. They really brought out Krishna as the Supreme Lord in that. Very nicely they have depicted. So in that they show that, when Bhishma is about to be killed or Drona is about to be killed, they ask Krishna that, why am I being killed in this way? Why did this have to happen? And Krishna freezes time. Everything, all the warriors, everyone, arrow छोड़ा है, ऐसा वो पकड़ा है, वो ऐसा अटक जाता है. Everyone gets stuck. And then Krishna has a one-to-one conversation with Drona and Bhima. I don't know how bona fide that conversation is and where they have picked it up from. It's very beautiful. The dialogues they put are very nice. But the thing we can see is Krishna can freeze that moment in time. He can do anything. So therefore, we should not be surprised that he freezes, the moon freezes, or the sun leaves its orbit. Whatever is happening, it happens by the arrangement of the Lord to for his pastimes to manifest for the pleasure of his devotees. So that's what we can understand. Yes, there is Ankita Mataji has raised her hand.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I want to ask one simple question from you. Since today's lecture was mainly based on everyone having personal space with Krishna, with Krishna, it's not like generally all of us coming together and speaking. We can always have personal thing with Krishna. So, Prabhuji, after hearing such kind of lectures, what happens, in Nectar of Devotion also, towards the end of the chapters, it is written in towards the end of the book that sometimes emotional appearance में आके हम कृष्णा को बोलते हैं कि just in that particular mood ki, my lord, I don't want anything. I want just your and mine relationship, just grant me your bhakti. But then जब वो मूड से हम थोड़ा हट जाते हैं and we get back to material life, तो वो एक्चुअली हार्ट टू हार्ट प्रेयर नहीं होता, सिर्फ इमोशनल अपीयरेंस में थोड़ा लेक्चर सुन के हम लोग कभी कभी हो जाता है ऐसा. जो नेक्टर ऑफ डिवोशन में लिखा है, तो
So
प्रभु जी
Mataji, so
वैसा कृष्णा प्रेयर कंसीडर करते हैं क्या? लाइक इवन इफ इट इज
of
सिचुएशनल
course
फॉर अ
करते हैं.
सेकंड.
See, Mataji is like this, okay, that it's like this, that कोई बेटा है, okay, एक फादर है, उसका बेटा है, और उसका बेटा समझो 14 साल का है, 14 years old, okay, and father is very well to do and everything. Another son, he says, अरे I wish I could have my papa, आप क्या गाड़ी चलाते हो, कितना अच्छा लगता है आप गाड़ी चलाते हो. I wish I could have my own vehicle, even I would love to learn, and I wish I could have my own vehicle. Now he has expressed his desire. Father can give him the vehicle on the next, मतलब वहीं पे रास्ते पे जा रहे, गाड़ी रोक के क्रेडिट कार्ड स्वाइप करके ये ले नया गाड़ी. Father can give it, but father doesn't give. Father waits till he becomes 18 years old. On his 18th birthday, when he goes to wake him up, he gives him under his pillow, he puts the chabi of the new bike or new car he's bought for him with a bike. Along with that, he gives him a helmet also. He says, "Beta, ye lo, aapki ichha thi, ye lo puri ho gayi." Right? So in the same way, we may have very exalted desires based on what we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, or what we read in Nectar of Devotion, or all the books written by the Goswamis. Our desires may become very exalted. हाँ, हम लोग है किधर? हम लोग नर्सरी में है अभी, हमको गाड़ी चलाना है, हमारी औकात नहीं है. So Krishna notes these desires. He notes, and when we are appropriately purified by the process of sadhana bhakti, at the appropriate time, he will give it to us. See, if a child, if you give a breastfeeding child, उसको आपने अगर सबसे delicious homemade पिज्जा खिलाया, एकदम बोनाफाइड, उसमें बेसिल भी मैंने खुद पकाया, खुद उगाया है, ऑर्गेनिक है बेसिल, चीज भी मैंने घर में बनाया है, आटा भी, वो पिज्जा भी ब्रेड बाहर से नहीं लाया, मैंने खुद का बना के, वेरी गुड पिज्जा. If that child eats that pizza, he is going to have loose motions for next 5 days, right? He doesn't have teeth. But even if you उसको mesh करके दिया, उसका औकात नहीं है वो. So only giving that to that child at that time is violence to that child. So therefore, whatever desires we have, whatever prayers we express to Krishna, Krishna will fulfill those prayers if we deserve those, what we are asking in those prayers. We need to deserve it also. One thing to desire, one thing to pray, another thing is to deserve it. If we deserve it at the appropriate time, Krishna will fulfill. So this is my answer.
Prabhuji, there is one point why I had asked this question. Sometimes Krishna may also feel कि हाँ ये बोल के तो जाता है, but he is not that sincere. अभी कुछ होगा तो he'll वापस become distracted and वापस
No. Mataji, Krishna is not a chartered accountant. Krishna is not a chartered accountant जो बैठ के अपना सब पुण्य और पापों का गिनती रख रहे हैं. No, that somebody, there's a different department for that. Krishna is not looking at what you did, how many rounds you chanted, 16 rounds you chanted, 32 you chanted. He's not looking at how many garlands you made for him. He's looking at the quality of our heart. Okay, he's looking for sincerity in our heart. If we are sincere in our devotional life, we will make mistakes. See, we are conditioned. Millions of lifetimes we have been so conditioned to enjoy sense gratification. But even bhakti में हम लोग भुक्ति ही ढूंढते हैं. Bhukti, mukti, siddhi, kami, we are that. But Krishna is not so cruel that you see, oh, tu bhakti mein aake bhi tu ye sab enjoyment kar raha hai. Oh, see, we should be sincere in our bhakti. But if we make mistakes, Krishna will not, say that, oh, you are useless, go to hell. No. He's very merciful upon us, and that is what we are counting, right? Like we discussed few weeks back, the story of what Uddhava is quoting, Putna, that Putna came to kill Krishna, but still he gave her the place of Dhatri in spiritual world. So he says, Kova Dayalu, what kind of mercy? ये क्या illogical mercy है ये? कोई तुमको मारने आ रहा है और तुम उसको माँ का स्तर दे रहे हो, ये क्या है? क्या logic है? So Krishna is not logical. What is his plan for us? We don't know. We don't know what is Krishna's plan for each of us. So till we find out what is his plan, we have to just obey instructions which are coming to us through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. If we follow that, we are in a safe position. And ultimately Krishna will reveal his plan to us. कभी तो बहुत सारे लाफे मार के प्लान मैनिफेस्ट होगा, कभी कभी फूल बरसा के होगा, हमें नहीं पता how it's going to come. But we have to just patiently wait for Krishna's mercy to fall upon us. Geeta Mataji, you raised your hand. Geeta Joshi.
Very nice session, Prabhuji. It was very well discussed by you. So thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Virendra Gupta, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी.
Hare Bol.
प्रभु जी, एक जनरल परसेप्शन है कि द्वारकाधीश कृष्ण
हाँ.
बांसुरी के साथ में नहीं दिखाई देते, तो ये
हाँ.
परसेप्शन करेक्ट है क्या प्रभु जी?
हाँ, sorry.
ये परसेप्शन करेक्ट है क्या कि द्वारकाधीश कृष्ण बांसुरी के साथ में नहीं रहते, मतलब बांसुरी अपने साथ में नहीं रखते?
Yeah, because the rasa was different, right? When Krishna was in Vrindavan, there was a different rasa, and the rasa in Dwarka is more Aishwarya rasa. It is like Narayan, Lord Vishnu. See, in Vrindavan, if you see the rasa that Krishna had with his Brajvasi friends, with the gopis, the gopas, elder gopis, gopas, with the younger ones, with the cows, with the peacocks, with the parrots, the deers. He had different rasa with them, right? It was one of those 5, special rasas of Prema Bhakti. Whereas in Dwarka, there also they love Krishna, unlimitedly love Krishna. But there is a bit of a Aishwarya Bhav there. So in that Aishwarya Bhav, the rasas created by the flute, they don't really belong there, which is why we don't hear so much about Krishna playing his flute in Dwarka. We don't hear about it. It's my understanding.
Hare
The
Krishna.
different ras. So rasa bhas bolte na. Rasa bhas. We can't have two rasas mixing together. Aishwarya के साथ प्रेम भक्ति mix नहीं होता है, अलग है वो. Yes, Sunil Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I have 2 doubts. One is I heard that Krishna played flute only up to 19 years of age, not after that.
Okay.
And second, we have a painting from Vrindavan in which Radharani also carries a flute. So, is it art, the art that painting art or some relevance to the?
So I'll answer the first question.
Yeah.
Krishna played flute only till age of 19. I don't think that is correct, but maybe, because see, Krishna, after he left Vrindavan somewhere around the age of 11 years of age. He was around 11 years of age when he left Vrindavan. And then he went to Mathura. Then from there he went to Sandipani Muni's ashram. So maybe, could be he played his flute there also, but there are no such mentions in the scripture. So therefore we go by what generally what we hear is in Vrindavan is where mostly we hear about him playing the flute, which is probably age of 11 or 12, maybe 19, but I have not read anything, so I can't say with any authority whether it's correct or wrong. As far as Srimati Radharani playing the flute of Krishna, painting of that, yes, there are there are stories, there are pastimes, local Braj Katha which talks about Srimati Radharani taking the flute of Krishna and playing it. So yes, there are such pastimes, and that painting is bona fide.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. All right, anybody else? We have exceeded time today, but thank you very much for patiently hearing. I hope that somewhere the sound of Krishna's flute or the sound of the pastimes related to Krishna's flute have touched all our hearts in some way. And I again beg forgiveness for going beyond my remit over here. Thank you very much for your time. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavat Mahapuran ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. So we can have Kirtan for 5 minutes. Yeah?
Yes.
Prabhu.
Just 5 minutes. Okay, we'll just do short. It's already 8:40.
मुकुंदा 12वी दिला आता 12वीची परीक्षा देतोय तो.
Want to mute everybody? You can sing at your end. Okay, sing along with me at your end. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधे जय गौरानिताय Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, कलयुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, गोलोकेर प्रेम धन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय, शील प्रभुपाद की जय, शील गुरुदेव की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि।
हरि हरि।
थैंक यू वेरी मच। हरे कृष्णा।